Hello, everyone, and welcome to Bravo Tea with a Stay-at-Home Mom. I'm Erica, and I'm ready to talk all things Bravo.
Welcome back, everybody, and I am coming to you live from Florida with my best friend, Jeanny.
Hey, everybody. How's it going?
I'm so excited to do like a off-site podcast, a travel podcast.
Yes. And the sun is shining. We've been at the pool all day.
Enjoying ourselves.
Recuperating from all of our martinis last night.
And the reason I am down here is because we went to see our girls Vicki and Shannon from the Real Housewives of Orange County last night.
Whoop, whoop.
We whooped it up, and Doug Butin hosted, and he's on the Jeff Lewis podcast. So we actually got to meet him after, and he gave me some of his truffle salt.
And we had some unfortunate photos, which were definitely not taken high enough. So the angles were a little off par, but we'll take it.
It was a sweet older lady that took them, and he was like, "Oh no, raise the camera.
Go higher, higher."
He's like, "Make us look skinny." But Vicki and Shannon were funny. I feel like they're very like authentically themselves. Like especially Vicki. I always think she's been like that. Don't you feel like that?
Yeah, and Shannon was even rocking her tights in 80-degree weather. Legs were looking flawless.
I know they were wearing like stockings
and like matching pink sparkly dresses. I was shocked about that, but they looked adorable.
Well, so the funny thing is, so they used to start doing this with Tamra, and they were called the Tres Amigas, and they would dress up in kind of like mariachi almost stuff, and they would do, so this was before Shannon's DUI, and they would do a lot of like, they did like Pour Some Sugar on Me, and they'd sing, but they were like, pour some tequila for us, and like sing like that. But then after the DUI, Shannon's like, all right, like I definitely don't want to sing about tequila. And it was kind of like a heavily based like drinking type show.
Yeah, makes sense. I feel like she was still about drinking though to some degree. She was like, as long as you're getting an Uber, she's like, enjoy your cocktails.
Yeah, because she did address the DUI, and we were wondering if she would.
Yeah, but girl still wants to have fun and still have her wine or champagne or whatever it is she's drinking these days.
I know. I'm wondering like how much she does drink, because they weren't drinking on stage.
No, just water.
And then we thought we saw Jill Zarin at the show.
In the corner, and then this lady was like going off, and she was saying, dropping the F-bomb in every other sentence.
I know, I didn't even know
about
what she was
them
saying.
Keeping it real. I really couldn't understand her. And then what about the lady in the front who's friends with Captain Lee?
That was good. She was getting so emotional, but like happy emotional.
Yeah, she was very like touched at them keeping it real and not being different people on and off camera, which I thought was cool too.
And then I got to ask a question. So I was going to ask, like, do you think people turn it on and off like camera for the show? But somebody asked that question before me. So then I had to pivot in my brain and think of kind of like a new question. And I said, how do you think it works as a dynamic as a whole on the show if people come on for a season, then come off for a season? And right away, Vicki went, I don't like new people. And I was like, yeah, I know you don't like new people. Because she always had that like known. Like when new people would come on, she's like, I'm the OG of the OC. And almost like you need to earn your spot here.
She definitely was always that ringleader type. Like, this is our crew and you can sit at the other table.
But like in a funny way. Never like mean.
Yeah, never like, you can't sit with us.
Yeah.
But
remember when she'd fall asleep though with people? She'd be like, boring. Boring. Let's whoop it up. We're in Puerto Vallarta.
It's kind of funny that her outfits, though, even though they were wearing matching outfits, the pink dress did kind of give Miss Piggy vibes a little bit.
I know. And she said, I never remembered. She said that Tamra called her that too when they were going through their bad like stunt. So I did read online, not at our show, so they were in Naples, Florida, the night before our show, that the audience was chanting F Tamra.
Wow.
Which is a little crazy because they are not friends with Tamra right now. So Tamra kind of like after the DUI wasn't like really being nice, in my opinion, to Shannon, and then didn't want to do the shows anymore. And I'm not sure if they like actually still were obligated for shows or it was more like future shows. But then Vicki and Shannon had the idea to just do a totally separate type of show. But we just found out that they finished wrapping for the season, and we know that Alexis Bellino comes on, and for me, that's terrible. Like, they were never on the show at the same time, but the fact that she's dating Shannon's ex of, like, I want to say 2 or 3 years, is not very nice. And then Tamara, who's supposed to be Shannon's friend, who was never friends with Alexis, because remember she would call her Jesus Chugs?
Yes.
It was mean to her. She's like hanging out with her and being friendly with her. I think Tamara's very two-faced.
She definitely is an opportunist to some degree. So new people coming in, new blood, even though she's technically old blood, but returned blood, I guess.
Yeah, returned.
Returned. So I think Tamara's just trying to get back into the limelight in some degree. And Shannon and Vicki weren't really doing it for her anymore.
I know. And like for me, I miss Vicki. Like, I know sometimes people are like, oh, she's like annoying, but like, no, she's always kept it real. She's always been funny, and she's always been entertaining. And like we said, I feel like they were themselves last night and on TV. Whereas Tamara, I think she's a turn it on for the cameras, and then afterwards wants to go, oh, I just did that for the show. Don't be mad at me.
Right. Agreed. Yeah, Vicki was keeping it real. She even had her QR codes to get everyone to buy life insurance. I'm like, all right, Vic, I'm not dying tomorrow, so we can wait on this.
The Kodo life insurance. And so 3 people got to be picked to go on stage. And obviously I raised my hand for that, but I didn't get picked. And it was like for super fans, and they were going to ask them questions. And it was a guy and 2 girls. And the prizes, everyone got a prize. They got a Kodo insurance hat.
They did. And they had a whistle, a duck blower. It's kind of cute. The one guy, Devin, he knew all the answers. He was a real fangirl.
The one girl in the middle, I felt bad. Like she didn't say anything.
She was stage fright. She got up there and it was like deer in the headlights look. It was like, whoo.
Some of the questions were hard too. And the questions were heavily based almost on old seasons, which I felt like wasn't fair because Shannon wasn't on the old seasons.
I completely forgot about Kimberly.
I know. So that was one of the questions.
What is Kimberly doing today?
I know. I think they said she doesn't even live in Orange County anymore, which would make sense for why they don't run into her. But that was one of the questions. What were the original cast members? And it was the Kimberly girl. But I did know the other ones. It was Vicki, Joe, Gina, and then I think that was it.
I wonder what they're all up to these days.
Well, Joe's going to come on the new season, which is interesting.
Oh,
and I'm wondering.
I wonder if she looks exactly the same or will be exactly the same.
She kind of does, because she was at BravoCon. So this is the funny part that I got to catch you up on, because Jeannie doesn't. She's a working gal. She doesn't have time for all these nonsense shows all the time. So last year at BravoCon, Vicki got the Lifetime Achievement Award, which I'm like, rightfully so, queen, get it?
OG, the OG.
The OJ. Yeah. So to present the award, Alexis came out, Joe, and oh my God, I'm blanking on it. Lori. Oh, Lori was one of the original ones.
Yes. I remember Lori.
Joe, remember, dated Slade. And then after they broke up, Lori like hooked up with Slade for a little bit. And then, Gretchen came out too on stage.
Slade really made his rounds all throughout the Housewives. I feel like he had like a list in his house, and like he's like, all right, who's next on the list? It was like top 20 housewives of Orange County that I would date.
Have to get with. He's just getting with the Orange County girls.
Check them off. It's like the Orange County bucket list.
So Gretchen came out too, on stage, and she is married to Slade. So I'm like, oh my God, this is so weird. So Alexis made like a joke and was like, I am the only one on stage up here that has not slept with Slade Smiley, which was funny. But now, right after like BravoCon, you get with John Jansen. Joke's not resonating because you're taking Shannon's sloppy seconds. He's obviously the same as Slade. Next, after he's done with Alexis, I guess he'll be dating somebody else.
Yep. That never have I ever slept with someone else's husband from the show.
Yeah.
That finger went down quick.
Oh, and then so that was like mean for Shannon, but then they really did Shannon dirty lately. They hired this guy called Senor Noodles to come do, you know, those like hibachi parties kind
Yes,
of?
of course. In the backyard hibachi.
Yeah. Yeah, you did it.
We had one of these.
Yeah.
It was a Don Andy party.
For Jeannie's other half, Andrew.
Yes.
But so Shannon did that on the show. She hired this guy, Senor Noodles. And Alexis and John just hired him for like a party. Like
Just trying to one up her. I wonder if they put Casamigos or something else in that sake water gun.
I know. Like, I was like, that's weird. I think it's weird Alexis even wants to be with John, just knowing that he was with Shannon. Like, there's plenty of people in California I'm sure you can find.
Desperado.
Yeah. I don't even think he's, like, attractive either.
No.
Oh, and
more fish in the sea there.
Vicky's boyfriend was sitting behind us last night and he was taking videos.
He was taking lots of videos and pictures, making sure he was supporting his girl.
Yeah. I'm hoping he's going to be like a lasting one because she was talking about all the men. Like when she first came on the show, she was married to Don, which I always did get a kick out of him.
I did too. He was like mutant cute, but like when he did say something, it was like kind of out of left field.
But he's not mutant cute anymore. Do you know what he does? He gets on like the internet and like rips her.
No way.
And everyone. But it's like funny.
It's like built up like anger from over the years, and now I'm gonna
but it's like
get
funny.
Out there.
He's like not like mean per se, but he's just like funny.
He's like, I'm back, and I'm with guns blazing.
Yeah. And then, she dated Brooks, who was the loser that lied about cancer.
Oh, my gosh. I remember him. He was terrible.
And then Steve Lodge, who we thought was okay, but then he was cheating on her in her Puerto Vallarta condo.
I liked how they both were talking about red flags, red flags. If you see a red flag, it's never turning green or yellow. It's always going to stay red.
Yeah. So Shannon's ex-husband, David Bedore, he is married to a younger woman. And they have a small child, and they like file for separation and divorce like all the time.
Oh, geez.
But they actually don't get divorced. I think he just doesn't want to divorce her because he pays Shannon $30,000 a month. Mm-hmm. I don't know what he'd have to pay her. And then I wonder if that would like affect Shannon.
Yeah, probably would.
Like if he had to pay another person.
Cali courts are a whole other world, so.
I know. Like, and I'm like, how much do you make to pay her that? That's wild.
Must be doing something that we are not doing.
Well, you know what?
Maybe we should call him.
Yeah. You know what Sutton gets on the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills? She gets like $300,000 or $200,000 a month.
What would you do with that money? I would definitely have a Birkin in every color.
Which she
at
does.
Minimum.
I feel like. And she has a horse.
Yeah, she does.
I don't really like her though.
I liked her. I feel like
sometimes I like her, sometimes I don't.
I didn't like her. I feel like she'd have some weird outbursts at times.
That's what
where
I don't
it was like she didn't know, like I don't know, like feel the room, girl.
I think she is like a alcoholic too.
Yeah, she might. Something's going on there.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I found her always interesting, but a little dry too. At the same time.
But fascinating. Like those are the people I want to see with all the money. Like on Orange County. We still have Gina, who's from Long Island.
Right.
And nothing against her. I don't mind her, but it's like, girl, you live in like a townhouse with like 6 people. Like, I don't want to watch that.
Yeah.
Like, no offense.
Yeah, no, she's trying too hard. Again, another desperado.
And her voice gets on my nerves.
Yeah.
The accent. And she like...
She reps the New York too much.
Yeah, it's like she has peanut butter.
Like, I'm actually a previous New Yorker, moved to Florida, and I'm not sitting around like, I got to get some coffee and go back to my house and make sure the car is running.
Yeah.
No, we don't talk like
say
that
drawer.
Anymore. Draw.
I love it because you say it different.
That is one thing that will always stick with me. But when I do tell people I'm from New York, they're like, what? And when I find out people are from Florida that live here, I'm like, huh?
I know, all the accents.
It's a melting pot, that's for sure.
Well, because Heather Dubrow was from New York, too. She
was.
She's someone we like to watch on the show because she's Miss Fancy Pants.
Miss Fancy Pants. I always liked her. I mean, she definitely let the fame, I think, get to her head a lot at one point. But I did like her little family.
I know. And then they just sold that house.
Ooh.
Like that took them years. I forget what it was. It took them years to build. It was so custom. Like, it was so custom that they had their names, all the family names.
Did Mo sell their house?
No, oh my God. Did you watch Buying Beverly Hills?
I did.
That was
the agency.
good.
We have the agency here in Florida, actually.
Oh, you do?
There's one
Where
in
is
Palm Beach. There's one in Miami. All the bigger spots. Fort Lauderdale, I think they have an office. But very interesting show and really insane. I saw that Farrah's house was broken into in broad daylight recently.
Yes.
Yeah, a lot of juiciness there. I still can't believe her and her fiance broke things off, but
I know that was
honestly,
weird.
I felt like she was too good for him. She's a real hustler in the work world, and I respect that.
And she deserves like everything because like you said, she's a worker, so she's not getting with anyone for their money.
No, not for sure, not.
How'd you feel about that lady, speaking of that, like with hustling, that was like, oh, it would be like company suicide if the girls take over.
Yes. Oh my God. She was so out of line. I forget what her name is.
She'll be fired.
She definitely. Well, the chat that Mo had with her, he was like,
I thought he was going to fire her.
This is like, he's like, whether they're my daughters or not, this is so like inappropriate. And it goes against their number one rule of, no assholes.
Don't be an asshole. I know. I like that.
Yeah.
No, and those are like his kids. And I do not think by any means they get stuff handed to them.
No.
Like they work.
Definitely
like, of course
not.
They are going to work, for him, and like they got a guaranteed job, but they do work.
Right.
And they do a good job.
No, I completely agree. And I will say they don't act like some of the other like younger people at the agency, the one
that
group,
one girl was so annoying.
KPZ or CPK or whatever. I'm like, I forget what their logo is.
No, remember the girl that got fired?
Yes.
And then she told, what was the tall black guy's name?
I forget, but I love him. He was an ex-dancer.
She was like, you need to give me like half of your commission. He's like, girl, what? Bye.
Because she picked all the fixtures in that house. She took
her name off of everything. She's literally stupid.
I think her name was. Yeah. So
she's stupid.
Yeah. Who does that? I mean, this house was actually gorgeous.
She's not legally entitled to anything.
I picked the faucet, so I deserve commission.
So I deserve like $10,000.
Yeah. I made sure they were black. So yeah.
I don't know. I don't understand, like, if she financially contributed, why she would do that.
Yeah.
Like, why would you take your name off of it? She's doty. No one knows where her parents are. They need to, like, sit her down and have a talk with her.
Well, she was on American Idol, which I didn't realize until recently. And that's where, I guess, how she but she left the music world because she was too much pressure. But then why do you go into real estate? That is some serious pressure.
To be on TV.
If you're not hustling, you ain't making anything.
I know. And it's like, I feel like now.
She didn't sell a house in over a year.
Yeah, because of these shows, like everyone does want to do real estate. Like on the plane ride, I was watching old episodes of Selling the OC because the new season's coming out in like a week or two. And I'm like, yeah, like everyone's watching these shows and they're like, oh, I want to sell all these houses.
Yeah. Going back to last night, though, and Jill Zarin, we missed her by an hour.
Oh, yeah, because she did come
Because she come on the later show.
And then you have to tell everyone the exciting gossip.
So Jill Zarin, she lives here in Florida, which is awesome. I have a very good friend who lives in the same neighborhood here. I won't name drop the neighborhood to keep their privacy. But, yeah, so she's in a tennis league with her, and she got a nice text this morning, like, inviting them to lunch. And I'm like, oh man, but her day was booked, so unfortunately we couldn't go meet them. But they were right here in Boca having lunch at one of the most prestige country clubs. I'm like, come on,
Vicki
free your
and
day
Shannon
up for this.
There. Yeah.
And plus, this place has a great salad bar. They chop the salads for you. It's one of my dreams to live in a country club that has the awesome buffet.
She probably keeps them on their toes there because, like I was telling you, I watched that Below Deck episode with her. She was a lot.
Yes.
A lot.
From what I hear, she is a lot. She keeps things interesting in this community, but she's still Jill Zarin at the end of the day. We all find her funny and entertaining.
Oh, yeah. No, I always liked her on the show.
I felt like she was good on New York. I felt like when she left, it was like a weird.
They're all strong on New York, too. That's Bethany, just their, personalities.
Bethany is awesome.
And Ramona, I know people are like, take it or leave it, but good TV. Like, some of these people, when we watch them, we're like, we don't have to be friends with them.
Nope.
But you have to admit, like, I would never marry Jax, but he's amazing TV.
You got to bring something to the table. If you got nothing to the table, get up and leave.
Yeah. Oh, I like that one. Get out of here and leave.
Get out of here and leave if you're not bringing anything to the table.
It's true.
Yeah. Oh, too funny. I think Avery now is, speaking of Ramona, Avery, she's starting up some type of business.
Yes.
I forget what it's called.
I wonder how that's going. I remember when she came, she was like a guest bartender on Watch What Happens Live one night and talked about it. It's like a party planning, almost concierge.
Which
I bet it's expensive.
For bachelorette parties. That's what it was. Yes.
So they do like everything, but don't you feel like, I guess if you like totally don't have time.
Or if you just have, it's convenience.
Yeah. But I like to plan stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's like fun.
So I will say, because obviously I was your maid of honor.
Yeah.
Planning your bachelor party was a little easier because we were a small group. But when you have like 20 girls, it's true. Like you finding reservations, making sure you're collecting money from everybody. And it's
keeping it in budget.
Yeah. And keeping it in budget. It's definitely, it could be tough. But again, then you're paying at a premium because you're paying someone else to do it. So
I know. And then I don't know how it works with like the party favors and stuff. But like if they bring any like big stuff, like you don't get to keep that. They have to take it. Like let's say you're like, oh, I'd like balloon arches and I'd like this and that. Like they'll come and take it. And you're still paying for it.
Yep. Rentals.
I've been starting to do the balloon stuff on my own for the parties.
I feel like it's easy. Amazon makes everything easy now.
I got these like poles and I do that. So I don't do like the curved arch, but I got these poles and like they're pretty easy. So I could do like pillars almost of balloons.
Nice.
Maybe I'll start party planning. Just kidding, because then we'll get everyone like Jill Zarin being needy and crazy, and I'll be like, no.
Can I have a party in a half an hour? I hear she's a very last minute Sally when it comes to booking appointments, but again, she's Jill Zarin.
That's the tea. That's the tea of Jill Zarin. Or Diet Coke, because she drinks like 100 Diet Coke a day.
Oh Lord, 100 Diet Coke.
No, she doesn't drink 100, but she said she has like a bunch of Diet Coke a day because she doesn't drink alcohol. But I'm like, yeah, but girl, you got to slow it down with the Diet Coke.
Yeah. What do they say with soda? I think you can clean your toilets with it.
Ew.
Yeah.
Why? Probably definitely Mountain Dew.
Yes. Something.
Mountain Dew's like Pine Sol.
Oh, no. Just think about what it does to your insides.
Ew.
Oh,
I know we were talking about that today when we were eating food. I said, I don't even like to read food labels anymore because everything's so bad in all of our food.
Yep. No one's safe.
We have to keep it healthy.
No one's safe in this world.
No one's safe. Speaking of safe, do you think we're ever going to be safe of not seeing Bethany Frankel?
I mean, her podcast is like kicking.
I can't listen to it though.
I mean, I did listen to the part and I really don't have so much time. Unfortunately, yes, I am a working girl and I'm a furniture buyer, but the Raquel one, I did listen to that and it was pretty gruesome.
I know.
I kind of felt like she was playing both sides and I was a little disappointed in her because
she didn't even know anything when she did the interview.
She just wanted to be the first come, first serve of all the tea, Raquel.
Do you know what was funny too? It's like Bethany was like talking about, oh my God, you've been like exploited. It's like, and taken advantage of. She didn't pay Raquel for that interview. And she read so many ads and it was a 3-part thing. It's like, let's talk about exploiting. You're exploiting her. And Bethany was the worst to interview her. She didn't even watch Vanderpump Rules ever. She didn't know people's names. She didn't know who Sheena was. It was like when Tom went on Howie Mandel. He didn't watch the show.
Nope. I just think some of these like podcasters, they're just trying to like get coverage and all power to you. But I was like taken back when Raquel started crying and she was like, oh, it's okay. Like
someone else should have done it.
It was too much. And then, kind of like Ariana coming out of the woodwork started telling Bethany Frankel to back up basically.
I know. Well, the funny thing is, so on Vanderpump Rules, like, not the most recent episode, the week before, they were talking about the podcast and they didn't mention Bethany's name. And I was like, yes, I bet she's dying that they're not saying Bethany's podcast.
Good for them. And Ariana just moved into her new house. Speaking of the agency, she used the agency to help buy her new house.
Ben Bella.
Yeah.
No, I'm not a real estate agent. I'm a super real estate agent.
Oh my gosh. He cracks me up.
He was funny.
He was good on the show. He definitely is like, he's a hustler for sure. I had some things on there that he was a little too sensitive at times, but
wait, the other guy was funny. His friend that was thinking about going back to Hilton and Highland,
Mark,
but I knew he
think
wouldn't.
his name was Mark.
Oh my God, died when he was doing like impersonations of people.
Hysterical when he was roasting Mo.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah, that was good. Yeah, but Ben was not happy with being roasted, and it was a minor comment, and I don't know. His girlfriend needed to get over it.
That was stupid, especially like roasts. Like if you watch those, like they hit low, but it's funny.
Yeah,
like they make it funny,
yeah,
and you have to be willing to like laugh about it.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely, and all the girls were laughing too.
Yeah. Mo was laughing. He was probably high.
Mo was definitely Callie sober in that moment.
What do you think's going to happen with him and Kyle? Like, we got so much out of buying Beverly Hills.
I feel like it's a weird thing, like, because, you know, at the end of in the beginning of the season too, they show like what's happening because they added that in, and then you're back in the same spot at the end of the season, and they're kind of like, I don't know, I felt like he's like, she can do whatever she wants and I can do whatever I want, but I'm like, kind of like, I don't know, like, do you want your wife to be a lesbian? Do you want,
did you see,
which is totally fine if she is. I feel like, you know, most of the world is bi at this point, but it just seemed odd to me. And it's also like, come on, give us some deets, Kyle.
I know. So they actually said she can't come back next season if she doesn't exploit her relationship.
Wow.
But I mean, she's saying they're not girlfriend and girlfriend, and like maybe they really aren't. So it's like, are they going to fire her because they think she's lying? It's like, if they really aren't, they aren't. But if you really are, it's like, just tell us at this point.
I mean, part of me feels like maybe she is just a friend, and like she's so used to like doing stuff with like her husband, like when you've been married for so long, and it's like when you start doing things alone, like some people just really can't be alone.
But she just only takes her. Like it's like, where's Teddy Mellencamp?
Yeah,
like
Teddy's
take another
definitely
friend.
feeling replaced.
I know. And then like when her and Dorit fought this season, she was like, why don't you invite me and like do stuff? She's like, oh, well, like Dorit has little kids. It's like, so does Teddy. And then she's like, oh, she doesn't like to work out, or oh, she drinks, so like she doesn't want to go to lunch. And I'm like,
oh, right,
you literally film a show where people like drink.
Yeah,
I just feel like she changed a lot on Maurizio, which is fine, but then she's like mad at Maurizio for staying the same person.
Yeah,
like going out and stuff.
There was definitely some awkward moments in buying Beverly Hills. Like there was one part where they were in the kitchen and they were talking, and
I know
you could just feel the space between them, and like they didn't even know what each other's like daily schedule was anymore, and it was awkward.
And she gets, the one thing I don't like is you do need, like we were talking about this with you need work balance and home life balance, but she gets mad at him like, oh, you're like doing this, and it's like he's working, and like maybe she could go on some of the trips with him.
I wonder if it's more of like a successful contest, like because he is doing so well and he's thriving in his business.
Yeah.
Whereas, I mean, obviously she did real estate with him when they first started out, but I'm wondering if it's because he's becoming so big and like well known that it's like making her feel uncomfy.
Yeah.
Because she was the one that was, you know, obviously way more famous than he was for a long time.
And that is true.
And then now all of her daughters are like really entering like the, you know, reality world.
Yeah.
And they've always grew up in it, but I feel like they, you know, really are putting themselves out there. I think
something happened though. She said there was no infidelity, but she said he did something that she just couldn't like the trust. But I'm like, that's what I mean. Like, tell us.
Yeah. It's also, yeah, I mean, I don't know. Me and Andrew, my boyfriend Andrew, we talked about how like maybe it was like it had to do with the Hiltons, and
you think
eventually maybe it was like the rift between her family, because obviously when he went off on his own, he became very successful, and it was like a slap in the face to them about, you know, what like what he was doing, because they wouldn't make him partner.
Yeah.
So
Kathy actually came to the reunion, and I don't know, like, I do understand what you're saying with the Hiltons. Like, that could be a part of it, but like, I'm like, would you really like break your whole marriage up over that? Because Kathy seems like the type that like, is very controlling and like.
Yeah, I feel like I wouldn't break my marriage up, but I feel like they're always somewhat so close, even though Kathy, to your point, has always been like the ringleader of those sisters. I think that, I don't know. I feel like it's a series of things. I think one thing maybe did happen, but like her not drinking anymore. Mo like loves to drink. He loves his tequila.
The mamitas, I tried it because of them.
Yeah, they're great.
They're good.
He just, he always toasts with his like, the agency team members like at the end and then during their parties. So could be that. I mean, it's hard to be with somebody that's like sober and you're not.
But that's why I don't like it, because it's like you're mad at him for this lifestyle you guys always lived. Like I feel like people out there go to a lot of parties, go to a lot of events, especially if you're famous. And it's like now he's still doing that and you don't want to anymore, which is fine. But don't be mad at him that he doesn't want to be like in bed at 8 o'clock reading books. She said she gets up at like 4 a.m. And I'm like, why? Why are you getting up at 4? And it's like, that. No wonder you got to go to bed at damn 7 or 8 o'clock at night.
See, I feel like she's like under like a temporary like spell where she's like, oh, I'm going to live this like holistic life and like live better. And it's like kind of like that woo-woo stuff that's happening. And then all of a sudden she's going to get sick of that and be back to maybe who she was.
You think?
Potentially.
It's like a midlife crisis.
It could be. She's like, I have to do something different.
I think she will continue to stop drinking because a lot of people have done that out there.
Yeah, well, I mean, her sister's sober.
Yeah.
So,
and that's why I'm like, is Morgan your girlfriend? Because she's sober.
Yeah, she is sober.
And did you get sober because she's your girlfriend?
Yeah, she might be.
I think she doesn't want to admit
drinking the Kool-Aid.
Because she would actually be a cheater.
Yeah.
Because of the timeline. So that's why they're sticking to the no. But there is like always like little like Easter egg hints. Somebody wrote like a year ago that they saw them like in like Paris or I don't know where the heck they were. And he's like, they're definitely together. Like they're definitely girlfriend and girlfriend.
Paris.
She follows her around too.
Yeah, it's very bizarre. I don't know, but we shall see.
I know.
I mean, when's the next season come out again?
Well, they haven't even filmed.
Oh, they're behind.
And Shannon gave us the timeline last night of Orange County. So they just wrapped.
Theirs is coming out in June, they said.
June, she said. So we'll get our lady. Right now is the first time in a long time that we don't currently have a Housewives airing right now.
Oh, interesting.
Until May 5th. So there's no Housewives on right now. And May 5th is Jersey, one of my favorites to watch. Because remember when we met Teresa, Dolores, and Dorinda?
Yes, that was a good one. That was a good night. They were very nice. They kind of looked like wax models.
Yeah, they
mostly
did.
Teresa.
And Dorinda. Don't you think she looked a little waxy?
They definitely did not look real. When you look at our photos, they look like they should be at Madame Tussauds. But
except Dolo.
Yeah. Yeah. Dolores looked great. She always looks great. I saw she went to her ex-husband's new fiance's like bridal shower.
I know.
And she looked stunning. And I always appreciated their relationship. She was always so supportive. And
I know. And he did her dirty. Do you know what he did? He cheated on her with his secretary at his law firm. Guess what Dolo did when she found out?
What did she do?
Dragged her out by her hair, as she should.
Keeping
Patterson, Dolores.
Keeping it Jersey. Keeping it Jersey.
I know. They actually, so on the new season, that Danielle girl who kind of gets on my nerves, the one from Staten Island.
Yes.
Another one that emphasizes the accent. Her and Jennifer Aiden are going to get into it.
Oh.
Which I like Jen Aiden.
I like Jen Aiden too. I think she's classy. She has her moments, but she definitely, when the switch gets flipped, she
just likes her tequila. And you know what? It's because the woman has like 5 kids, has a husband that works a lot. And she's like, I'm out. Like,
I wonder if they're going to have the kids more on the shows.
Jersey, of all of them, do kind of emphasize the kids.
So they do, but I'm wondering if the kids, like, 'cause I felt like in the older episodes, you saw the kids way more.
Because they were funny.
Were funny. And especially when, like, the Manzo crew was really on it. Like, you saw, they were really a part of it. But I feel like as of lately, it hasn't been as much emphasized. Like you don't see, but maybe Gia's, I don't know, going to have a stronger presence.
I know. I think it's because they're all busy too now. Yeah. When they're little, it's like they were living there. Yeah. God, Melania was so funny.
Oh my gosh, Melania, she was like a terror back then.
I know. She's like, give me pizza, you old troll. She's going to the University of Tampa.
Wow, right here in sunny Florida.
Yeah. Tampa. Teresa's like, oh, I love it. I'll definitely visit you there because her other daughter, Gabriella, goes to the University of Michigan. She's like, it's cold.
It's freezing there. I saw a meme recently that was of people that go to schools in like colder climates and what they wear to parties, and people are like trenching through snow and like these like power skirts and like heels and like.
We were just talking about that today. What we used to wear, we're like, ew.
Oh no.
Clothes.
I mean, I don't know what I'd take though. The shorty short trend that's happening right now, or if I would take
the no pants
or the liquid leggings that we used to wear with tank tops.
Oh my God. Yeah, our style was interesting. And I feel like back then, like when leggings first came out, like, and we would wear them, they were like see-through.
And you would wear them with heels.
Yeah.
What was that about? I think about it and I feel like it looked so odd. Now it's like you would never be caught wearing leggings to a bar.
No, and I said we'd be so comfortable in our clothes now. If we were in college going out, we'd be in like sneakers, cute, trendy sneakers, be in the baggy jeans, and like a fitted, like plain bodysuit or like plain t-shirt.
Yeah.
That's like the style.
Yeah. And then now too, there's that sweaty, baggy sweatpants like look with the like no top. If they're wearing pants, that's what they're wearing on the pants. Wait, but if not, they're wearing the shorty shorts.
Baggy sweatpants?
Yes.
People wear those out?
Baggy sweatpants and then major crop tops that are like barely covering their
Oh yeah, nipples. I know what you're talking about, yeah.
But yeah, that's the look. Either there's no pants, or the pants are way too big and they're literally girls that are like 50
tops,
pounds.
some of them, the tops are little. You know, another fun fact too is talking about Jersey. Antonia, Joe and Melissa's daughter, she goes to UD in Delaware. So like when she posts stuff and she's like, UD, I'm like, oh my God, you're like literally 15 minutes from my house. Like I need to go creep.
I can't believe they're all in college. It's like, I feel like time just doesn't stop for anybody. Are her and Melania still close, or?
They do talk, but like I don't really think, because it has to be hard. It's like
awkward.
Yeah, because obviously they side with their like parents, and then they're gonna side with Teresa. I don't know. Now the more time goes on, I used to back in the day be like, oh, Team Melissa and Joe. Look how annoying Teresa's being on TV. But now that there's like podcasts and interviews, and like the old producer Carlos King has come out, said like Melissa totally came on behind Teresa's back and stuff. Like that's hard. So it's like, I have a sister-in-law, and if we weren't getting along and you secretly come on my show and it's to kind of give me a hard time and take me down, like not appreciating it.
Yeah, agreed. Same here. I would feel the same way. What's going on with Teresa and her new husband?
I don't know.
Okay. I feel like he hasn't been like around. I can't put my
finger on him though either. I'm like, is he normal and okay or no?
Is there something going on? Is he a Brooks like part 2?
I don't know. So right before they met, he took his company public. So he has money, because some people are like, I was with Teresa for money. I'm like, you think she like pays for everything? Like they spend a lot of money. Like it's like, no, it's both of them. But I'm just worried because there's always stuff about like him like legally, and I'm like, oh my God, don't be Joe Giudice 2.0. We don't need that poor woman to go back to Danbury, wherever she went.
She spent enough time behind bars.
Yeah, which is wild. So I listened to her podcast and she described how everything went down. The IRS came to their house, said like, your husband isn't paying taxes, and she's like, what do you mean? He was never paying his personal taxes. He always paid business taxes.
Interesting.
But then he had Teresa sign for like properties, and he would take like loans out and stuff, and it was just a mess. And then he would go to the DMV with the brother's license to get a license. Like his was like taken away. And then he had a Corvette that he never like registered or something. I don't know. Just a lot of multiple different weird things. But he lives in the Bahamas and he's living it up.
Yep, he is. And he's very small now, I feel like.
He lost so much weight after jail. Yeah. He's never going to be, I think, as heavy as he was. But he gained, like, it back a little bit.
Yeah.
Looks a little more like Juicy Joe now. Like when he first came out, I'm like, oh, you look sick.
Yeah, some of those Bahama mamas.
I know. So the girls did say he has a girlfriend.
Oh, interesting. They visit him a lot, I think. From what I see on Instagram, they're usually over there.
So that's why he said he moved to the Bahamas, because at first he got, like, he went back to Italy and he was living with, like, family for a while.
Right.
But it takes so long for them to get to and the time difference and stuff. So he said that was a big part of why he moved to the Bahamas, is because it's really easy and close for them. And Melania is like, I'm going to be even closer in, like, Florida. And she's like, and that was a big reason why I didn't want to go to, like, California for college.
Yeah. Like, they have a close relationship with their dad, which I think is nice.
I know, after everything.
I feel like I don't know how it would feel. But
I know. And Teresa, like, used to never badmouth him. And she doesn't to the girls, but she does kind of badmouth him sometimes on, like, the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Just by saying everything he did and stuff.
Yeah. I remember that fishy episode when I forget where they were. They were in maybe wine country.
Yeah.
And he was like, oh, that was my bitch wife.
Yeah, yeah.
Did we ever?
He's like, I'm talking to a worker, and then he starts, like, speaking Spanish all of a sudden. I'm like, okay, no. I think he was talking to a woman.
Yeah, I agree.
Andy asked him at the reunion, but, like, he's not going to say, oh yeah, that was my girlfriend.
Nope, keeping it mute and cute on that one.
Yeah, I like that new saying you have, mute and cute.
It's definitely a good one.
What would you say your favorite show is on Bravo, though?
Vanderpump, all the way.
Yeah. I know. So you said you haven't watched The Valley.
I haven't watched The Valley at all yet. I definitely think I need to give it a shot, because I do love Brittany and Jax, and Kristen Doty was always, like, a fan favorite. Crazy Kristen. I hear she's still as crazy as ever.
As crazy.
I'm interested to figure out these new people in the Bravo world. I felt like with some of the newbies, I mean, even in Vanderpump, I never, like, gravitated towards the new people.
Yeah.
But this is a totally new show, so maybe that'll change my mind a little bit.
So do you think they'll get back together? I don't, Jax and Brittany.
Do not think they're going to get back together unless someone said they're moving to Florida potentially.
Oh, I know. You know what
that
was?
Was a rumor?
That was from a long time ago. They said that.
Got you. Yeah, it was definitely confusing on what's been going on, like, with the press with them, because it's like Jax is saying one thing, she's saying another thing. I would say Brittany's
in denial.
Yeah, Brittany's always been kind of honest about things. Yeah. And, she's a very loyal person, and I respect that so much. But I think it just got to a point. Enough is enough. There's a kid involved. Truth. Like,
she said they were arguing all the time,
which is never good for a household. Yeah. But I mean, yeah, I think she's definitely doing right by her little guy.
I know. They're going to have to figure it out, though, because guess what's happening? I listened to her on the Not Skinny But Not Fat podcast, and she said she's still paying for the bills at the house. So Jax pays the mortgage.
Oh, my God.
She pays all the bills. And then it's like, if you're not going to get back together, like...
What is he doing? What is he always spending his money on? I feel like he's always had a problem with money. To some degree.
Well, and you have to remember, for a long time, I wonder how they were really making the money. Like, she was doing the Jenny Craig, but he got fired and wasn't really doing anything. And he never went and got, like, a job.
I feel like, too, though, he wasn't as flashy on camera with certain things. Remember that truck he used to drive?
Yes.
I felt like he drove that for a long time. It was like a Tacoma, I think, like an old school Tacoma.
Yeah.
Never got a new car right away. He lived in that, like, tiny apartment, which was, like, I feel like the size of my office that we're sitting in right now.
Remember Tom and Ariana's apartment?
Oh, my
That was him and Kristen's apartment.
They would have to turn, what was it, the microwave?
Microwave. And the air conditioning.
And the air conditioning. Oh, they couldn't have anything on, or else the fuse would blow.
It's funny. They're all, like, back in, like, apartments, like Schwartz, Katie. Like, they're, like, backtracking.
Yes. Went from a house. Well, just kidding. We're moving out.
I, like, wonder if Katie would get remarried.
So, to be honest, part of me thought, and I know she's bi, but I kind of really thought she was going to have, like, a real serious relationship with a girl next.
Really?
I feel like she's not.
Tori.
Maybe. You never know. I just feel like that's her next destiny, is to be with a woman. And
I can see that.
Not that she gives me like total lesbian vibes, but I feel like she has like this, like, I need to do something so different. And let's face it, Schwartz was kind of feminine. So
I know. And, he has like a 24-year-old girlfriend.
Yes.
Just like Kristen Cavallari with her 24-year-old boyfriend. That's the new trend.
Must be the new trend. Robbing that cradle.
Yeah. For Kristen, I feel like it's weird because he's younger, the man.
Yeah, I would say. But she is like such a smoke show. I mean,
oh my God,
anything. I've been watching her cooking blog and like reading her recipes. And I mean, I always thought she was kind of like, my shit don't stink, but like her shit probably never stinks.
But like funny.
Yeah.
Like always funny.
She was always funny and very witty. But
were you team Kristen or team Elsie?
That's such a tough one because I always loved Elsie, but I always kind of felt like she was a little bit of a whiner.
Yeah.
But after the show ended, I always found it so weird. And recently I went down a rabbit hole to see if her and Lo were still friends, and not
That's
a photo
weird.
in sight. Why did they stop being friends?
I don't know.
Part of me has heard that, and part of me thinks also that after the show, Lauren was so like traumatized mentally and emotionally from it that she was like, I just have to like rid everything, like kind of like when you're like quitting smoking, like people like stop drinking
and
sometimes.
Lo was still on the show.
Exactly. So I think she maybe had bad taste in her mouth because of Lo, and I don't know, I feel like there's been things that have been said that they really weren't best friends, and
but they were, because when they started Laguna Beach,
right,
they really like, you could tell like they were young.
But have you listened to some of the podcasts from Kristen?
Yes, did you listen to Back to the Beach with her and Steven?
But most of the show was really fake.
Yeah, like she's like, I'd be like on the phone and no one was there.
Right, and then also I know Heidi.
I think they were all really friends though.
No, and then Spidey also talked about it.
Yes,
that they like all the places that they lived, like they actually didn't live there, and like they like. The show would like rent a place for them.
They rented that Malibu house for Kristen. I think that was really Spencer's apartment though.
But apparently like when they weren't filming, they weren't allowed to stay there, which is so bizarre.
Well, I know Kristen said that on her last podcast. She said that they rented her a house, because I was like, yeah, wait, how'd she afford that big ass house? And she said they rented it the whole summer.
Right.
And she only stayed in it like 4 times because she could only stay. I would have been like, MTV, let me stay here. Let somebody stay there.
Interesting.
That was weird.
I feel like these shows sometimes, like, I mean, I think they called it out last night that Bravo wouldn't pay for their Shannon and Vicky's like their iSlip like drink tab because
Iceland. Yeah, they talked about when they were in Iceland. That was like possibly the worst cast trip ever. Like sometimes that would have been my other question for them, like, but I wanted to do the people like the dynamic. How do they pick the cast trip, and like does anyone suggest where they should go? Because it's like who at Bravo was like, oh yeah, let's send them to Iceland.
I don't know, but that was so mean because I feel like all the other trips are so much better. Even though Iceland is cool, I feel like I would
not for them though.
Not for them. I mean, it definitely like they could have picked like an island or like something where like it could have gotten a little juicier, even though I think Vicki basically being Michael Jackson wheeled out of the hotel. That's pretty
My
juicy.
favorite scene from Vicki, which they talked about last night still though, ever till this day, is the family van scene.
Yes.
When this janky weird van shows up, because they had a big family.
Yes.
And she said they were going on a 2-week cruise. So like you need a lot of crap. And she's like, why would you send a little family van?
I just can't believe she went on a cruise. I feel like they're not cruise people.
I know. Like I feel like she would like go stir crazy in the cruise.
Yeah. I feel like she'd be like, stop the boat.
Yeah.
Get me off.
Get me out.
I can't get my insurance quotes through.
Oh my God. Yeah. How was she working on the boat?
Always working. How many times? I think if I had $1 for every time she brought up how hard she works last night.
I know. But I did always, because like when it first started, which Vicki was talking about last night too.
I just remember her
like
insurance
her idea.
office when she
oh my God, in
first
her
started.
house.
Yes.
I remember Laurie worked for her.
Yes, I remember that. Oh, that insurance. I just remember the lighting in there. The older episodes were just so good to watch because.
Oh my God, I know. And you know, the first reunion was in Vicky's backyard.
Yes, it was.
Like,
oh my gosh.
And that's like they were watching back the like show and talking about it. Like Andy wasn't there. It wasn't a thing. Which also, speaking of Andy, you know, that's been a rumor lately that they're going to like
give him the axe.
Yeah, but like, I think that would be stupid. And
I feel like there's got to be like so many things that he has on Bravo. There's no way they'd get rid of
lately
that.
They're saying there's so much, like all these idiots are like coming with all these allegations to him. And so some people are saying, oh, they want to get rid of him for that. And then B, we're saying that's why, you know, they're not having BravoCon this year. It's going to be next year, which I'm devastated about because I was going to go.
Been saving up for that trip.
Been saving up and I was going to go. And like now that I started this, and it'll be a year for me that I started the podcast in November, I was like, that'll be so great to like be there. And I've met so many people that live in California on Instagram, and we were all going to go together and share like a house even. Maybe we talked about if we got enough people. So they're letting a lot of us down, but they're saying maybe that's why also they're not doing BravoCon.
A lot of changes.
Yeah.
I mean, I know we talked about, you mentioned the Olympics. It could be why.
I think they're using that as like an excuse because it's like, I think you can like budget for BravoCon too. And it brings so much money. So like last year, the tickets go on sale in the summer.
And the hotels as well.
Yeah. You use the money from the tickets to pay for the event. So I'm like, who cares about the Olympics?
I don't know.
Not us Bravo fans.
Not us Bravo fans. I could give a rat's. I mean, the gymnastics is always good, but
that's always fun. I know. I don't like to watch anything else.
Yeah.
Well, before we wrap it up, I am going to end with the question I always ask everybody. If you were on The Real Housewives, what would your tagline be?
So my tagline would be, for those who don't know me, I am Jeanny, and I work for a furniture company called City Furniture.
Shout out.
Shout out to City Furniture. We just opened an awesome new store in Clearwater, Tampa.
Woo!
But my tagline would be, I may be an upholstery buyer, but there ain't room for nobody to sit around on my sofas and sectionals.
I love that. I love it. Oh, I love that. Oh my God. This has been so fun. I just can't believe I'm like on a vacation without my husband and children too.
Woo! Party. We definitely have been. We slept in today too.
Oh my God. It was wonderful. I like was in like a coma, I feel like last night. Cause I was sleeping like by myself, like no dog, no like other human body with me, like no children. Like I'm like,
whole bed and room to herself.
Oh my God, love it.
Sunny Florida. Like I said, the sun is still shining. It was like 80 something degrees today.
I got a little sunburn on the shoulders, but we're okay.
Just a little fry.
Just a little. I put the SPF on though.
Well, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for having me stay in your house.
And so nice to meet you all. Hopefully we'll do I guess, bi-coastal interview next time I'm on the show.
Yes.
Or she'll just have to come back to Florida.
Duh. I'll bring the fam next time.
Hashtag move to Florida.
Hashtag move. So we can spy on Jill Zarin all day.
Exactly. Exactly. Or perhaps run into another OG Jersey, Siggy Flicker, who's also a Boca lady.
Oh my God.
There's also some other really cool podcasters. We got some toasters down here now.
Ooh.
Jackie Oshry. She moved down here. Claudia Oshry, Girl at No Job sister.
Oh my God.
So a lot of things happening in Florida, people.
A lot of sightings, celebrity sightings. Last night we were like, yo, like we need to see all the people pulling up to the next show, maybe celebrity.
I definitely thought I saw a few, but it was just good old Boca ladies.
Yeah.
Boca Raton? Boca Raton.
Yeah. What is it? We're wrapping it up with the confirmation.
I'm going to say it's Boca Raton.
Boca Raton.
There's no Raton. Raton only.
Okay. So it's Boca Raton.
Boca Raton.
That's how we have ended. And we're going to go to dinner. We're going to get some martinis, going to get some oysters.
Off to Gallagher's. Shout out to Gallagher's.
Shout out.
As always, this was so fun, and you could find me on Instagram at Bravo T with the Stay at Home Mom, Spotify, and Apple. Till next time, see ya.